Ironic meme culture seeped into every infinitesimal crevice of neurons in my tiny brain. Metatextual post-irony has ruined my life. My pain is immeasurable, but my heart is full of fictitious claims of genius. So basically, the internet. Why would I be concerned with the alarming rise of neo-fascism in America when I could just simply—
Here's to the ones that we got.
Yummy. The rise of ironic meme culture has been a meteoric one, particularly amongst mentally ill Gen Z leftists disillusioned by the system with about 200 followers on furry Twitter. You are real and you are valid, but also— what's this, guys? Chapter 1, what if I repeatedly bashed you over the head with a stick? What would you do? You think you're gonna defend yourself? The idea for this video first came around back in January when some idiot sent me this post-ironic horror. I feel genuine terror when I look at this image. It's hard to describe exactly what it is, but what I see is an eldritch abomination that did not ask to be born. This is a creature of hellish proportions and is thankfully contained in the confines of pixels on my screen. He's just like me for real. That's so me. He's so me-core. He's so me-core. I am trapped. Please help. If this ever found its way into our simulation, we would be completely screwed. I believe it's a mischaracterization to say that Gen Z is in full agreement on this humor. It seems like there are very specific types of people that understand this. Memes today in a post-ironic world are really easy for some to understand, and for others they seem standoffish and uncomfortable. So, what makes a meme ironic? Well, memes have gone through a transitional period over the last few years. Kind of like a lot of you. I see you in the comments, I know what you are. If you look at boomer comics of times past, they seem almost too simplistic to be funny. Like, I get the joke in this image, right? 30-year-old liberal son is a pest. That's cool, that's based, that's real and valid or something. You know, whatever you're into, I don't judge. But it's not funny to me. Like, I have a lingering feeling that there should be more. Sir, please tell me more about your son. He's a liberal, you say. How devious. What else does he hide? In the past few years, memes have shifted from a single plane of irony to like a second plane, like over here. This second layer is called post-irony or meta-irony. Some say post-ironic subtext is a staple of the alt-right. Some say go fuck yourself, not everything is about you. This is not a political statement, but it could be. Anybody can use post-irony, I do it all the time. There's a great video about the different layers of irony by a YouTuber called Dregory, who I recently discovered because apparently you guys just want him so bad. I am not Girl Dreg, don't say I'm Girl Dreg, that's a slur. Dreg is the goat, no cap, apparently. But to summarize, cause let's be honest, you guys aren't clicking off this video, I'm far too engaging. You can take a normal statement and add a layer of irony to it by simply stating the opposite of what you are to say with something outlandish. I love dogs, and the absence of atrocities they've committed turns into, I hate dogs so much, they literally did war crimes. But then, if you add a second layer of irony to it, it becomes, I love dogs so much, they definitely didn't do war crimes. But did they or didn't they? Is there nothing more to life than optics? Am I complacent? Are you complacent? So what is ironic meme culture? And why? The culture surrounding ironic memes is something I'd tentatively describe as a group of people. They are, in a sense, a specific kind of person, generally well-versed in the internet and also understands what the hell this is. This cultural phenomenon actually speaks to something that is really hard for people online to generally accept, and it's that most people in the world are fucking normies. Like 99% of them. There are so many normies, which is to say that they are better than us. Internet literacy is not as high as we might choose to believe. Think about it this way. When a BuzzFeed author refers to Gen Z, they're not talking about the high school quarterback, right? They're usually referring to the chronically online teens of Twitter who, mind you, should absolutely be avoided at all costs. So it seems post-ironic meme culture is more or less the byproduct of a multitude of things. Being on the internet from a young age, chronically online individuals, and fine, perhaps a bit of political doomerism will get to you. Essentially, it's the people we've thrown down the well. And that's not to say I haven't dipped my toe in also. I personally love it down here. I feel just like the girl from The Rain, and she's serving like just full queer-coded goth realness, so like she's onto something. I believe it's fundamental to understand this because in our day-to-day lives, we encounter people who are slightly different, as if somehow they've both been washed with youth by their time on Twitter and weathered with age by their time on Tumblr. Why are they like that? Chapter 2, I'm actively hitting you over the head with a stick. The kids will not be alright. Just because you say something doesn't make it true. You have not seen the kids like I've seen the kids. I've been in the trenches with these poor bastards. I know what they're like. Why is Gen Z like this? I mean, you kind of implicitly know, don't you? Have you even been paying attention to my class? Sit up straight, look me in the eye. First things first, Gen Z's entire existence has been brutally commodified by every multinational corporation on this planet. If there's even a penny left from their minimum wage jobs, it must be taken. Which is why, for all you Gen Z out there, I highly recommend investing your money in the Mia Cole Patreon. I'm obviously kidding, I know you people don't have any liquid income. This channel is entirely funded by oil barons and Swedish benefactors. The Patreon is a front for embezzlement. And while yes, I obviously love embezzlement, I do want to say that we have exactly 99 patrons, and when we hit 100, I'm gonna have to legally have to make a video essay of your choosing, which is terrifying, and I don't want to. Anyway, who's this bitch?
So I guess my first question is like, why are you like this and who hurt you?
I think it's generational trauma.
So at this point, I do need to introduce you to someone who's important to the plot. So this is Lauren. I reached out to Lauren because I felt I needed a separate perspective on this issue. The Gen Z issue, not the Swedish embezzlement issue.
Among Us, Balls, Ligma, it was funny. Obama, Fortnite.
I met Lauren because she was actually featured on a song by two of my favorite SoundCloud rappers who I interviewed a few months ago and none of you gave a shit. Which is fair, I guess. I understand. It wasn't enough Mia. Basically, there's a lot of Mia lore here. I just love Mia so much. I really want to meet Mia someday. Anyway, she'll be interjecting periodically because I'm afraid that I perhaps am slightly disconnected from my peers and I desperately want to feel normal again. Got it? Good. Gen Z is in pain. Gen Z is in a lot of pain. Why is Gen Z like this? Okay, so like, first of all, basically like half of them are mentally unwell. They've been on the internet their entire lives, and they're also being commodified on the largest scale in all of human history. So, you know, that about does it. Gen Z is broken, and here's why. Gen Z are currently about 10 to 25 years old, and they are a mess. The rates of mental illness amongst Gen Z they vary from study to study. And, fun fact, about a quarter of them are also unlikely to receive any treatment for it. Which, yes, means, I know we're all thinking it, we won. Gen Z W, let's go. Gen Z win. Gen Z win. Gen Z win. 32%, huh? Man. Look, I know it's not a joke, but when reality is so bleak, sometimes you have to take pride in when you're succeeding. And what we're succeeding in is winning the perpetual race to the bottom. Gen Z win, let's go! This incline in mental health issues could be caused by a myriad of different things. But let's be honest, it's phones. It's just phones. We all know it's phones. It's phones. Whenever you find yourself with an excessively grandiose problem that requires verbose explanations to discuss it, just blame it on phones. Most people will just simply believe you. It's called confirmation bias. So yeah, Gen Z is sad because phones. But why? And also, what about the memes? Did you forget about the memes?
I needed a place, an outlet to put my energy onto, and it was the internet. I need the internet because it grounds me.
Okay, basically Gen Z has been online at like such an aggressively young age, and it's like that's bad.
iPad babies need to be demolished because that is very dangerous.
Essentially, Gen Z as a collective is feeling the existential horror of creating content online, and from that falling down the rabbit hole that is internet corruption, which leads them to say things like, I threw away my childhood to become an influencer, thus resulting in the yassification of Encanto. I don't know. Guys, I know what they're going through. I've seen it all before. The internet has corroded their brains so much so that simple things like memes have over time grown into abstract and almost artistic expressions of pain and perhaps loads of trauma. Will Smith meme. Incidentally, this video is also the most terrifying piece of content I've ever seen. And then that's the Family Guy clip.
There's a time that I remember.
So Gen Z likes these memes so much because they've been a part of their development. Because you see, the internet doesn't care about silly things like authors' intentions. It is inherently self-centered and thus only concerns the humor an image displays to them. A prime example of this, weirdly enough, are boomer minion memes, which actually aren't inherently post-ironic in the slightest. This isn't even like one layer of irony, this is just pure sincerity. But the use of these memes by younger generations are that of post-ironic reverence. A lot of boomers and Gen Z find these memes genuinely funny, but obviously for completely different reasons. So Gen Z is so deeply entrenched with internet culture that they unknowingly develop this second sense of post-ironic humor. When I look at something like this, I see a significant amount of layered satirical subtext that requires an immense amount of knowledge about post-ironic theory as well as new wave political doomerism, and a general collective apathy and nihilism expressed by an entire generation. But also, and this is true, it's just fucking Peter Griffin singing the Maroon 5 song. It's not that deep.
Here's to the ones that we got.
And that, my friends, is the core of it. Analyzing these memes is pointless because as much ironic subtext and deep understanding of newfound internet culture is needed to understand these memes, it's also not that deep. The people consuming this content fall victim to their own habits. Relatable, don't put that in, don't put that in. When the average chronically online individual sees this, it's not that deep because it's just the humor that is implicitly the funniest in that specific context. For them, it's no thoughts, head empty. And in that sense is where the post-irony lies. It's not about metatextual irony. Kids these days are not on some kind of different wavelength of their deep understanding of post-ironic humor. They certainly aren't critically analyzing these memes like some certain pretentious assholes. Their humor just naturally developed this way. And whether they know it or not, the artistic expression of those creating these memes is valuable, whether they like it or not. When I see this, weird weirdly enough, it's like a window into the mind of young people today. This is part of them that they feel free to express online, but not in the real world. This is ostensibly an avenue for expression of deep angst about the world at large. Look, what I'm trying to say is your humor is actually really cool and unique and awesome, but you don't know that, so it's actually really bad and dumb.
I don't know. I've been called a femcel a lot lately.
Oh my god, you are a femcel.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't understand the term for a long time, and I was like, no, I get laid. I get laid, I swear. Unironically, I scared all the hoes this time. But that's part of the irony.
Chapter 3. What if you died as a result of your injuries? Doomerism is defined as the overwhelming feeling of self-doubt and destruction at the sudden realization that Mia Cole has more subscribers than you. Let's critically analyze a meme for a second, but not like in a sincere way. When I do it, it's cool and post-ironic. Okay. So back to Will Smith. This image has multiple subtexts. First and foremost, it insinuates that we, as the viewer, are watching the creator of this image have some kind of singular experience with the abomination they themselves conjured up, as if they are in the same realm as Will Smith's serial head. He's doing it again. He does it on purpose. I told him not to. It's afternoon. No, I'm not letting go. You always do this. These are the words of someone in the midst of a psychological breakdown. And that's why it's funny. Doomerism is the foundational belief that the world is inherently condemned to end and there's nothing you can do about it. And if I am to risk drawing the ire of its proponents, I'd say it's an ideology of laziness. Is that a hot take? It shouldn't be a hot take, but it might be a hot take. It's really easy to say, well, screw the climate. The world is going to shit anyway, when your mentality is that of ambivalence towards others' well-being. Because why would you put in the effort to fix a systemically broken world when you truly believe nothing matters? However, few people are, dare I say, brave enough to hold true doomerist values. Most doomers must hold on to some kind of mental dissociation in order to not be crushed under the weight of their own conscience. Enter the cope. Coping is a cornerstone of ironic meme culture. Many would attest that the hallmark of a good meme is the level at which it copes. But do Gen Z all believe that this is a cope? And if so, is coping good?
Oh yeah, it gets people through their days, and obviously there's an audience for it. It's not niche. Everyone has their own sort of like irony, even the millennials.
Okay, yeah, it's a cope. It's a cope. Of course it's a cope. You knew it was a cope. Why else would we develop this bizarre sense of humor if it wasn't just a cope? You think this is normal? Obviously, it's slightly more complex than that, but a lot of which I believe is a cope. It's just a cope. And honestly, the last thing any of us want to do right now is another goddamn value judgment. Who cares if it's a cope? I would argue there are significantly worse ways to deal with your own mental turmoil. You guys know that, right? I know you know that, right? I know what you are. Did you like that? Did you like the callback I just did? You like when I lower myself to the arbitrary standards of nonsensical rudimentary comedy? Do people like this? The rise of ironic meme culture, especially amongst Gen Z, is the result of a lot of confounding factors. I don't care. I don't give a shit, honestly. Most notably of which being the chronically online nature of our current state of affairs, the rise of mental health issues, and a desperate need to cope with an alarmingly bleak world. Gen Z was born into this state and has been conditioned from a young age to systematically perform mental gymnastics over and over in order to not be crushed under the weight of the world that we currently live in. Because at the end of the day, all we truly have are the things that bring us happiness and the people that we love. So my message to you, truly, is don't forget what you have today, whether it's everything you ever wanted or you're at completely rock bottom. Someday you will look back at this moment and it'll all be just another memory. So I guess what I'm trying to say is,
Memories bring back you.
I saw the video and I called it out and I was like, okay, you need to stop dropping acid now. I know where you live.